Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. In the last episode, we talked about the concept of UI5 SDK, how to utilize SAP UI5 SDK and create our first XML view. We talked about the concept of XML, the structure of an XML, the tree data structure. We discussed about the namespace concept and creating our first XML view. We also discussed about the main differences between why XML is preferred over JavaScript view, which is the most asked interview question. Moving into the next slide, in today's session, we'll first see an example of an aggregation. If you remember, I have explained you the aggregation concept, but we have not seen an example for the same yet. Let us go to the system and see an example for aggregation via XML view. So I'll go back to SAP UI5 SDK and I'm going to show you a control called simple form. A simple form control. And this control is part of SAP UI layout library. Just go to the simple form. And now you'll see here the description about the simple form control. You can see the simple form control. The parent class is form simple form. And the parent class is control class. And then it has constructor properties, aggregation, association, events, and methods. We go to the aggregation and find there is an aggregation called content. Can anyone tell me how many objects I can send to this content aggregation of simple form class? How many aggregations we can send to this 0 to n? You can see the cardinality, which means the input to this content aggregation is an array. Multiple you can add, right? Is this clear, guys? The cardinality, which we discussed also in the last class, multiple we can send. Now, can you tell me which type of elements you can send to this content aggregation? Which type, what is the type of object which you can send to this content aggregation? What type of object? It's there on your screen. It's there on your screen already. Yes, perfect answer. You can see this is the type of element you can send to the content aggregation of this simple form content. Now, can you tell me, have you seen this class ever? Have you ever seen this class? Have you ever seen this class? Have you ever seen? Where? Recall, go back to the flashback. Try to recall and tell me, where have you seen this class? What is this class? Where have you seen this? Anybody? Try to go to recall, look at your notes which you are preparing, look at the PPT which you have. Where? Yes, perfect answer. You have seen this class in control hierarchy. Exactly in the last class we have seen it. What is this class? Where it comes in the control hierarchy? Who will tell me where this class comes in control hierarchy? Where it comes in control hierarchy? Where it comes in control hierarchy? Which class? It's a superclass. Superclass of which class? What do you think? Which is this class? Which class this is a superclass of? Control class. Perfect answer. Let me go back. Those who forgot, let me go back. And now you see sap.ui.core.element class is actually the super of control class. Are you clear, guys? Yes or no? This part is clear or no? Yes or no? Is this part clear? At least this part is clear to you or not? Yes? Which means now my question to all of you. In object-oriented world, can I assign a child class object to base class? In object-oriented world, can I assign a child class object to base class? Can I assign a child class object to base class? Which means if I have a button object, can't I assign my button object to element class, which is the base class? Yes, possible. If I have an input field, can't I assign the input field object to the element class? Can't I assign input class to the element class? Can't I assign a table class to element class? Because this is the base class for all of them ultimately. And this concept in OOPS is called casting concept. Clear, everyone? Assigning a child class object to base class especially is called widening cast concept, but the concept in general is called casting. So we can assign a child class object to base class. That is the reason SAP has aggregated element class over here. Why? Because we can add variety of elements in the content of a simple form. Again, I repeat, because we can add variety of content, input fields, labels, tables, buttons, we can add multiple variety of elements, multiple variety of UI controls to be part of the content of the content aggregation of a simple form. Remember this again, don't forget this. We can assign variety of control. This is a super class, which means variety of control can come and sit inside, and this can be assigned to the content aggregation. What is the content? Content is an aggregation of which class? Simple form class. Am I making sense or not? Is this theory clear to you or not, that you can assign any type of control to the content aggregation, because content is represented by the base class of all the classes. So it is possible to assign any child class object to the element class, because in that ultimately going to the content aggregation of the simple form. Yeah, which means now I can assign an input field also, a button also here in the content aggregation of simple form class. Again, I repeat, once again I go back to flashback and explain you, element class is the super class of all the child classes, isn't it? Element class is the super class of all the child classes, and it is possible to assign a child class object to base class, which means we can come back here and we can assign any object the content aggregation, be it a button, be it an input field, be it a label, because for all those classes, this is the super class. So it means in the content aggregation of simple form, we can assign any object. Let's go back to the system and try to create a simple form. Now guys, another catch here, whenever you're creating a control from a library, please mention the library name here. Please do that. So any new library you are including, please include that here. I just put a comma and I will say sap.ui.layout library. That's a library name. You must put that library name in the SAP UI libs section in the bootstrap. So SAP UI 5 loads this library properly. This is always a good point. And now what we will do is we will create. Okay, maybe I'll start with a completely new. So somebody is saying that please start with a new one. Let's close this project. I'm going to start a completely new one. Okay, forget about that. Let's start new one. So I say new, and I'll say here, this is my uh, SAP UI 5 project. And as usual, we create a new web app folder. And now inside this, we as usual gonna create an index HTML. So just to save time, guys, this time I'm gonna do copy paste. Ideally, we should not, but here I want to save time, yours and mine. This is the reason I will do a copy paste of code. Okay, so I'll just do a copy paste my MVC day. I go inside, I take our index HTML and bring it on inside web app folder. That's our index HTML. You see we have a namespace. So let's change the namespace properly. Suppose you're working in a company called onlinetheorytrainings.com and you're working in the finance department and you're creating an application for account receivables. So your namespace becomes onlinetheorytrainings.com.finance.account receivable. This is a best practice to give namespace. Are you all clear? What is the best practice to give namespace? You can put Iron Man. I have no problem, but that will give you bad review comments in your code review by your architect. Okay. Do you want bad comments from your manager? Do you want bad comments from your manager? No, of course not. Nobody wants it, right? Everybody wants to follow standard. That's the reason you are spending your time in the training, right? Behind me, because we want to learn the best practices. So that's what we will do. So that's my project name, my company name dot department name dot team name. That's my namespace. And now, of course, you're gonna put the namespace here instead of Ironman everywhere. This namespace. Right now it's going to be an XML view, so I'm going to use this and just close this gentleman. and just keep my XML view already in place, and we just need a content element. So this is something which is clear to all of you, I assume, because we have written this also in the previous chapter, previous unit. And now it's time to create a view and a controller. So the beauty of SAP UI5 Web IDE is you can right click, create a new, and you can choose new SAP UI5 view, and now it gets created ready made for you, right? Just choose the namespace. What's our namespace? Can anybody recall me? What is the namespace we have given? Just try to remember the formula, right? If you remember the formula, it's easy to remember. It's company name OFD dot department finance dot team name account receivables. Clear, everyone? That's easy to remember. If you know the formula, you can construct it anytime. O is small. O is not capital in my namespace. Now the view name is view 1, or I can say main view, and I click on next and I say finish. It will create automatically the view folder and the controller folder for us, and it has got all the code. The view name is actually main, so I just got to change that. And now if you come inside the view and check it out, the generated view system has created something called an app page and pages. So right now I'm gonna remove everything. We don't want anything. I just removed it simply. I'm not interested in anything which you don't understand. I will only put things which you guys understand. Now you see it has included a couple of namespaces. So it has got library, core library, MVC library, SAP M library, and then it has got controller name automatically, the namespace dot controller dot main, and some another namespace for XML, HTML namespace. It has got a couple of namespaces, which is okay. We understand that. Now the view also is part of MVC library, so it has put that namespace over here to include the view. So this is all we learned in the last class, nothing new for us. Coming to the controller, you will see now once again, what is this code called? 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 Scaffolding template. Perfect answer. Rahul has got it first. Very good, Rahul. That's called scaffolding template, and we have included that over here. And now it is returning that object. Of course, we don't have a base controller at this point of time. We can implement it later again. Now coming back, let's go to the view, and it's time to add our simple form control now. So first of all, the library name, I'm going to include here the simple which belongs to simple form layout library, XML namespace, layout library, sap.ui.layout. Is that clear? That's the library name, UI layout library. Here everyone, that's the library name, sap.ui.layout library. And now we will say layout library, simple form. We will add the simple form here. And inside of this simple form element, we are going to add our content. So watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Simple form, sap.ui.layout.form library. This time it's part of form library inside the layout library. So your namespace here to be very careful. SAP UI layout.form. Point one. It's a sub library within main library. Main library is layout, sub library is form. You can keep it L also, you can keep it F also. It's your choice. You can keep it anything you wish. Okay. You can put Anubhav also. I don't mind. Okay. Good practices. Whatever is the last library name, that should you put here. So F means form library. That's easy for you to remember and recall. It's a form library. The form library has simple form content. Is this clear, everybody? This first statement, which I put line by line, every single line of code, no copy paste. Never ever do copy paste. You are cheating yourself if you're doing copy paste of code. Clear, everyone? Is this line clear? Yes or no? Is this line clear? We have included the library name and with the namespace. Now going inside, what is that we have content aggregation. So guys, anything which is part of this library should follow what? Anything which is part of this library, which is SAP form library, should follow what? How does the system know that this content belongs to form library? How does the system know that this content aggregation belongs to form library? How does the system know? Namespace, right? Namespace. You have to put namespace again here, form library colon content. Some people simply give content here, it will not work. Simply if you give content, it will not work. You have to keep the namespace because it belongs to the form library. Is this clear, everyone? Next step, clear, everyone. I put the aggregation name. Is this clear, everyone? I put the aggregation name content aggregation. Okay. Is this clear, everyone? Content aggregation. Now, inside the content aggregation, how many elements you can put? How many elements you can put inside content aggregation? Multiple. Yeah. Typically, we put a label input field combination. Label input field belongs to SAP M library. So what should I start with? Should I have to put a namespace here now? Because they belong to SAP M library, the label and input. Do I need to put a namespace? Do I need to put a namespace? No, not needed. Look at here. SAP M is the default namespace. See here. SAP M is the default namespace. You don't have to put here M colon some. Not required. That's a default namespace. So system will always look forward for this label inside of SAP M library automatically. And now we'll put the text here. We'll put here the text. Let's put the text. The text name is, let's say, employee number. And then I'll put an input field. And then I'll put an again label. Don't confuse that it is HTML. It may look like HTML. It is not HTML. What do you think this object belongs to? Which library? What do you think? This is an object of HTML or SAP UI5? Is this object an HTML object or UI5 object? It's a UI5 object. It's not HTML object. Okay. This is belonging to SAP M library and it's a UI5 object which is creating. Don't confuse yourself. Employee name. Don't overthink. Overthinking will damage you badly. Just keep the things simple which are simple. Don't overthink. Overthinking is always bad for your health. Okay. Overthinking is always bad. Next, salary. Input, currency. Is this clear, everybody? Is this clear, everybody? How did we wrote our first simple form control? And here content is an aggregation. Watch out. Content kya hai? Content is an aggregation. We have seen our first example of aggregation using XML view. Okay. This is our, what is your doubt, Ramchandar? Please unmute your line.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello,
Yes, please
Anbu.
go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Can you go to the code page, main view page again once again? Actually, since couple of days, I'm struggling to find out the syntax. Actually, I'm going to SDK site also. There also, I'm just seeing the libraries, but what are all the things we need to take? Properties, I'm able to see, and this one also in the content. How you come to know? We need to use content here in the F in the form, simple form after.
Okay, for that you can already see content in aggregation in simple form class. This is how I know that I have to use content.
Okay, just go to the main view once again.
Here is content. I can't put Superman here, it won't work because Superman is not an aggregation for simple form.
Okay.
This will not work because Superman is not an aggregation for.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for asking this doubt because it helped many of us. Many of us it has helped.
Thank you.
Cool. Is this clear now?
Thank you. Now it is a little bit clear, but
Okay.
I have one more doubt.
Yes.
One more doubt. Anbu. Whenever we create a main view by using SAP UI5, here we got one URL http :www.w3org. We are using SAP SDK libraries, right? But why we got this W3 schools? Uh,
This one system
only
has generated automatically. Right now, you can remove it also if you're confused. No problem. You can remove it
okay, okay,
completely. This was generated. Since
okay.
I generated the view, system is generated. I didn't touch that. I have no use for that. You can remove it. No problem.
Okay, okay, okay. No, anyways, thanks.
Best
A little bit
practices.
clear now.
Best practice is to keep whatever system generate for as it is. That's a good practice. If you don't use it, don't use it. Okay. Now, aggregation, somebody
Ah,
is saying, is it a collection? No, aggregation is not always a collection. Sometimes you see a single aggregation because you will see 0 to 1 here. Cardinality will be 0 to 1. In that case, it will be one element which you will pass. Okay. Suppose in case of content, let's say aggregation is 1. You can't pass more than one object inside. You can only pass one object inside content currently. Only one object you can pass inside content. Okay, if it is 0 to 1, but since it's 0 to 1, I am passing multiple objects inside the content aggregation of simple form. So simple form is the control, content is the aggregation. Inside that aggregation we pass multiple objects because the cardinality was 0 to n. Okay, it depends on cardinality. Absolutely, it depends on cardinality. Okay, we cannot use namespace with comma like we using in libs. Somebody is asking, can we use like this? How will system differentiate now? Please confirm, how will system differentiate what is layout and what is system cannot differentiate. It is not possible. We have to give every library a unique namespace, and always typically for SAPM library the default namespace. Let's save this, come back and run the application and see the result. What do we get? We're gonna get a beautiful simple form on the screen. Let's execute that up. I just come to the another page. I'm just gonna execute and voila, beautiful. You see a nice simple form is coming on your screen. The input field size is pretty big. Let's reduce the width of input field. So of course, which property do we use? We can go and check the input base class. This is the super class for input field class. Check the properties and you can find if there is a width property or not. Yes, there is a width property to control the width of the input fields. I'm going to come back to the app and we will say some width here. Let's say employee name width is 200 pixels. Number, employee name is 450 pixels. Has anybody attended Hasso Plattner's HANA training? No one? Hasso Plattner's HANA training, which was conducted years ago. No one attended. Have you ever heard about Hasso Plattner, who is the founder of SAP? He has conducted a free training on SAP HANA. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yes, absolutely. You're right. Okay. It means your eyes are open, your ears are open while you're working. That's nice. Okay. Now let's put the properties and I'm just going to save this. Come back and refresh the page. We're going to see now our app changing accordingly. I'm going to refresh. And now you see the sizes of these input fields are varying as per our specification, which we have given. Cool. That's what we wanted. And now what we want to do is this is done. So you get the data. So let me put the data here, value property, and I'll just put here value property 1000. And let me put the value property and I'll just say Anubhav, and I'll just put some another value property. Salary is 50,000 and I'll say value property is euro. Come back, refresh, and you will see now some values coming. In real time, do you hard code values like this? In real time, do you hard code values like this? No. Where should it come from? Where should it come from? Where should it come from? It should come from either some database or from some collection, some data, some placeholder where the data is residing. That's where it should come from. What is the concept of MVC architecture which holds the data? What is the concept of MVC architecture which holds the data? Perfect answer. Those who answered model. Model is the concept which holds the data. So introducing the model concept now. Okay. So model is the concept which we use to introduce the data, to bring the data in the system. That's what we actually do. Okay. That's what we actually do. So model is the concept which we use to bring the data. So let's introduce the model concept. So is this aggregation concept clear to all of you today? Please try this at home. This is very important. Okay, please try this. You have to type every single line of code because many times you'll do mistakes. I trust me, you will do this mistake. F you will forget for content. Content belongs to simple form class, which is part of layout class. So you have to put F also before this. Very important. Now another catch. Can you tell me what is content is of type? Anyone? Can you tell me what is content is of type? I just go back.
Aggregation.
Aggregation, you're right. But if you observe carefully, content is a default aggregation. It's a default aggregation. It's a default aggregation, which means if I forget, if I don't write this content, where all these elements will go and sit, where all these elements will go and sit inside if I don't write. Of course, perfect Alok, you understood the concept. It's the content aggregation in which these elements will go and sit automatically. Automatically. Because content is the default aggregation. The result is absolutely same. If I run it again, refresh, it won't have a change on the result. Clear everyone. Sometimes you may get confused when you see already written code by SAP or by your colleague. There they have not written the content aggregation and you may wonder how come it is coming. Which aggregation these elements are going and sitting? They are going and sitting in the default aggregation. Okay. Content default हमेशा एक ही होता है. Default is always one guy. One guy is default. Like you remember, whenever you want to go to party, there is a default friend. Yeah, there is a default friend whom you call because that's your default. Whenever you go for team lunch or team outing, there are default person with whom you spend most of your time, right? That's a default one. So default is always one. So whenever you want to do something, that's default. In this case, all these elements automatically will be assigned to the content aggregation because that's a default aggregation. Am I clear or not? What does the default means? So whether you put or not put doesn't matter. Okay. How do we get that's layout concept, little heavy dose. Right now we'll not discuss about it. So there's a question Anubhav, how can we get them in the same line? So that's something called a concept which we will learn little later. So already they are in same line because since we are doing now SAP UI5, it's adapting itself according to the UI. So if you go to mobile, this is how it look. If you go to desktop, this is how it look. So don't confuse here. However, still you can fix the position based on your choice. Now there's another question, Anubhav, how can we bring these gentlemen in parallel, this label and this input in same, like, you understanding? Somewhere here in the middle. Middle mein chahiye, upar nahi chahiye. Okay. Something of this sort. Very easy. Very, very easy. Very, very, very easy. Just go back. This time I'm going to put a property here. Editable equals to इतना सा ही तो रखना है ज्यादा effort नहीं है very less effort. Just put that property, come back and refresh, and now you'll see they are center, absolutely center, these labels. These are all properties and the documentation is given in the SAP UI5 SDK. I am not a champion in UI5, but I can code any SAP UI5 control because I understand SDK. I understand what is aggregation. I understand what is property, methods, events. It's very easy. Very easy. Okay. Anubhav, when we go to properties and when we go to aggregation, might be a stupid question. I am a bit confused. Very good question, Vaishali, not a stupid question. What is the difference between aggregation and property? This may be a question which is hampering many of you. Difference between property and aggregation. Some of you are also confused with this question. Difference between property and aggregation. Guys, property is a normal property. Property is of type string, number, integer, character, boolean. All the primitive data types which you see are all the properties actually. But aggregation is always object. It's always object of another class. Is this clear now? Am I making it clear to all of you? Aggregation is always object. It could be a single object because cardinality is 0 to 1, or it could be an array. It depends on cardinality 0 to n. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? The difference between property and aggregation, it could be an array, it could be single also. Okay, you have to check the cardinality of it. Accordingly you have to design. That's the main difference between property and aggregation. These are all primitive. इसमें कभी object नहीं मिलेगा आपको. In none of the property you will ever see an object. You will always see objects for aggregation. Aggregation we will never see properties. They are always objects. You see, object of another class. They are actually. They are always object of another class. Okay, they are never ever 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 never ever a property. They are never ever a property. You see, they're always object of a class. Okay, that's what the difference between aggregation and property. Cool. Let's bring it back. Content aggregation for simplicity, just to keep it simple, just to keep it very clear for you. Some of you may think, Anubhav, why you don't do, you put it, no problem, you don't put it, no problem, because it's a default aggregation. Okay, let's come back and see what do we do now. Next, what we want to do is we want to bring the data automatically. So that for that reason, we will introduce now the model concept. So we have hard coded right now the data. This data come from a data source, and that data source is I'm writing as a model. What are all the types of models in SAP UI5? Types of models. Types of model. So four types of models. Okay, four types of model: JSON model, XML model, resource model, and then there is something called OData model. Now, many of you thinking, Anubhav, we will directly work with OData model. No, guys, we will not. This is still far away story, heavy dose of antibiotic. If I give you today, you will die. Let's not do that. Let's only understand slowly first these three models and then the detailed model next. I request you to please mute your line. Okay, coming back. Now, JSON model, XML model, and resource model. These are all three models we have. And these three models are called client side model. 100% certification question. Which of these model belongs to client side model? Okay. Or which of this model is not a client side model? 100% certification question. What are all the types of models, or probably which of the below model? Certification, all questions are objective, not subjective. So which are all the types of models which is not a client side model? So be careful with this question. So client side model, what does it mean? The client side model, all the data is kept on client side when app starts. Okay, all the data is kept on the client side. Client here means anyone. What is the simple term of the client here? Layman term, if you want to understand what is your client here, your browser. Very good answer, Sandeep. It's your browser or phone, whatsoever, that's your client. All the data is kept on the client side when the app starts. Okay, there is no communication with any server in middle. In middle means once your app starts, all the data gets loaded in the browser and you will work with the browser data. So do you think this model is suitable for a real-time application? Of course not, because maybe you don't want to use this model because it's not up to date live data. Still, these models exist. Why? Very much suitable. So they are suitable if we have non-changing data, a fixed data. There is no change in the data. It's fixed and a small set. It's not a large set. It's a very small set of data, maybe 20, 50, 100 records, like country codes. Do you think country code changes every day? Do you think country code changes every day? No. So this is an example of org data, not master data. Master data, it keeps on changing, guys, still. Like say I added a new supplier, new vendor. That's a master data. But seldomly changes. But org data never changes. Like your cost centers. Yeah. Like your currency code. Will currency code change? Will currency code change from INR to something else? Never, na? So you can use this suitable for a small set of fixed data which is non-changing at all. You can use this, okay, which is called your client side model. However, there is a very specialized application, client side model, which people don't understand easily. Client side model acts like internal table and work area for Fiori apps. Anyone, what is the purpose of internal table in ABAP? I assume most of you are from ABAP background. Can you tell me what is the purpose of internal table in ABAP? अगर ये नहीं सीखा तो जिंदगी खराब है. ABAP में अगर ये नहीं आता है तो कुछ भी नहीं आता है. Internal table is actually a temporary storage of your data, incoming data. So what do? You have a database layer, you have an application layer. So what you do typically, you will fetch the data from database layer to the application layer, and then you process that over here, right? It's a temporary store which exists till the runtime of the program, and you will pull the data from database and you process the data in the internal table, right? It's a temporary table. You can name fancy names, staging table, blah blah blah. It's, for me, it's a temporary storage space. Temporary, why it means? It means when program terminates, when program ends, this storage is destroyed. It's no more existing. It's a temporary storage where you pull the data, you process it, and if you want, you can push back to DB, or you can keep it here in the program as long as program runs, right? Similarly, these models are used for this purpose, like your internal table. You pulling the data from OData service, and then you keep it in a JSON model. You process the data. Once you're ready, you can post back the data, or you can keep it in the application. So that's the main use of client side model. And if you also have maybe hard coded data, you can use it for client side model. Clear, everyone? Now your next question was Anubhav, which model is used heavily in the real world? Okay, which model in applications is used? I would say almost every application use JSON model, because internal table is like used in every application in SAP. Almost 0% uses XML model, and almost 100% uses the resource model. Yeah, this is the hugest percentage in real-time application for the model, and every application which is real-time also 100% uses something called as client server-side model, which is OData model. So let's talk about what is server-side model. OData model is a server-side model. So we'll not talk about OData much in detail today. I'll just give you an introduction. Server-side model. This is a server-side model. What is this model used for? The data is kept on server, like ECC. Okay. ECC or your SAP S4 HANA system. Okay. And it's loaded on demand. On demand, it's loaded, not loaded all the time. Don't load all billion sales order which you have in your company, right? Your app will down, app will never load. Imagine if you have billion sales order, you try to load all of them, it will never work, right? So this is the reason we load the data on demand. We load the data based on our need. We don't load all the time all the data. It's kept on the server. Request response architecture is followed. Okay, we use request and response architecture to communicate back and forth with SAP server used for most of real-time Fiori apps where data resides in SAP system. Okay. The communication is asynchronous communication. I will show you it depends on fallback functions. Okay. We will discuss about callback functions when we'll reach to OData model. Very heavy dose of antibiotic. If I give you today, you will die. We won't want to give this heavy dose today. Okay, we'll first learn client side models and then slowly हंसते खेलते हम लोग ओ डेटा पे पहुंच जाएंगे आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा. Okay, just by simply we'll reach to OData one day and that day you will realize, oh my god, it was so important to learn client side model first before jumping to server side model. Okay, clear everyone, the definition part at least, the differences between client side and server side model. Now there are many questions maybe running in your mind, how to use them, how to use them, how to use. I'm coming to it, hold on, I'm coming to it. You allow me to complete, then only I can complete. I cannot proceed immediately. Many of your questions gets answered by the end of the class automatically, but it's just your curiosity which you can't control, and that is good, but it's dangerous sometimes. It will distract you from the current ongoing concept. Okay, current ongoing concept. So I will, it's my duty, my promise to you that I will not leave anything. You have to have the focus. I will not leave any stone unturned. After completion of this course, there is not a single thing which you will not understand in a standard Fiori app or a custom Fiori app which your company have used or coded. Trust me, that much trust you should have, that much faith you have. After end of this course, you will understand every single artifact which is part of a standard or a custom Fiori application. Don't worry, but you have to go in the flow. Yesterday I got an email, I will not reveal the name. Somebody who took my course just 7 days back in a video mode of training, and today is asking a question on manifest.json, which was covered in session number 42. Do you think it's a valid question? In 7 days, can somebody cover all 45, 42 videos? I don't think so. In 7 days, somebody can cover. And the person is directly asking me the question on manifest JSON, which is covered in 40-second session. So only two possibility. Either he is a robot, so that he has studied everything in 7 days, or option two, he directly jumped to manifest chapter. Trust me, he wouldn't have understood much of it. And he's asking me the question. However, I answered his question, he understood half because his learning is also half. He has done half learning, directly jump to the manifest chapter. It's a very heavy dose he's trying to inject in the body. पहले दिन ही अगर injection लगा दोगे कैसे चलेगा काम? How will it work on the first day if you're injecting a heavy dose of antibiotic? That medicine has no impact in your body. You have to get your body used to it first. First day you go to gym and start lifting heavy weight 200 kgs bench press. How will it work? Next day you will not go to gym. You will not even be able to go anywhere. Okay? You will not be able to go anywhere, trust me. First day of the gym you going and taking a bench press of 200 kgs. कर भी नहीं पाओगे और जा भी नहीं पाओगे. Point one, you will not be able to do. Point two, after that you will not be able to go anywhere. So try to go in a straight fashion, step by step, line by line, slowly and steadily. Okay. Right. Fine. Go step by step, line by line. That is an effective way of learning. Okay. So we will go very organized way. Try to understand. I understand your curiosity of not stopping yourself to getting into more things, deeper things. But please understand my situation. I cannot give you all 40 hours in one day. I don't have an injection or a pill to give you, which you will take and become an expert in one day. Okay. It's not possible for me to do that. Coming back. Now let's move on and discuss how to create our model. What are all the steps to create our model object? Okay, we're going to discuss that. The steps to create. And I expect every one of you to remember these steps by tomorrow's class. This is an assignment for you. It's not a technical assignment, but this is an assignment for you. Remember these steps. I will pick tomorrow one of you from randomly. From the chat window, I'll pick one of you randomly, and I will ask you to iterate these steps to me in tomorrow's class. Do whatever you like. Take a print of this single PPT, single slide. Take a photo of this slide. Take a memorization. Do whatever you want. Set this as your wallpaper of desktop or mobile. I want tomorrow, one of you I will pick up randomly, unmute your line and ask you, what are all the steps to create a model object? Clear everyone? That's what I'm going to ask you. That's your assignment. Let me tell you the steps. First step, guys, create a brand new model object of your choice. So whether you want to create a JSON, XML, whatsoever you want, create a brand new model object of your choice. Second step, set or load the data inside of model object. Step 3, after setting loading the data inside of a model object, make the model aware to the application. Last step, use the model using model data with the help of data binding. Can anybody tell me what is data binding? What is data binding? Anybody? What is data binding? I have taught you it in the MVC architecture. It's a process of connecting view directly with the model. Okay. It's a process of connecting view and model directly together. Exchange what? Exchange money? Exchange rice? No, to exchange data. Okay. What to exchange? Exchange data. Okay. Not money, not rice, not wheat, not pulses. It's to exchange data. Okay. To exchange data. That's called data binding. So these are all the 4 steps. How do you create, use? First 3 steps are creation of model object, making it ready. Last step is just consumption of the model. I would say last step is more like consumption. We'll keep it out of scope. We will keep it for the next slide. I'll just put it here. Okay. This is the consumption part. But first 3 steps are mandatory. You should remember. Tomorrow's class, I'll pick up anybody randomly. I will ask these first 3 steps to all of you. Let's see the coda which we will write to do these steps. Okay. First step, creating a brand new model object. So var to create variable, var o model object equals to new your model library name dot class name. That's the syntax. So var, I will say I want to create a JSON object, JSON model, whatever name you can say, Anubhav you can say, it's your choice, whatever name you want to. This is a variable you're creating. I would say JSON model, or I can say my model. It's your choice, guys. New keyword sap.ui.model.json is the library name. JSON model is the class name. Be careful, it's case sensitive. Be very careful. This is the model to create JSON model. Now, can anybody tell me how to create an XML model? कौन बताएगा? It's very easy to follow the pattern and tell. What do you use to create an XML model? Who will tell me? What do I use to create an XML? Come on, guys, come on. Don't be afraid. What will happen? Maximum it will go wrong. I'm not cutting your marks. I'm not cutting your salary hike of this year. I'm not going and complaining about your manager, about you did not answer my question. Try to give me an answer. Let's see how many of you go correct. Just follow the pattern what you have written above. Most of you are very, very close. Thank you so much for these many answers. I really enjoyed it. Now, let me write down SAP UI model. ये तो रहना ही रहना है. Everybody knows. And XML in small. You see, JSON was in small, so XML also small. XML model. This is the correct answer. अभी बात करते हैं resource का. कौन बताएगा? Who will tell me resource model? Come on, guys. Let's see who will tell me resource model. How to create resource model of new. Anyone? This resource model object. Who will tell me resource model object? Can you please tell me? Resource model object. Anyone want to give a try? Resource model object. SAPI model is definitely there. आगे का बताओ. माने resource model. Perfect answer. Resource model. That's the syntax to create these models. Here everyone, first step to create O data. अच्छा O data. Okay, O data रह गया. Let's write O data. O data model equals to new sap.ui.model odata.v2 लगा देना बस. Extra v2 will come, guys, because odata is available now in model version 2 and version 4. We'll discuss about it. Don't worry, heavy dose. Right now, just understand how to create a model object. Is this step clear, guys? How to create a brand new model object of any type, any choice. Not necessary all of them you will create, but one by one we will learn them. But is this syntax clear to create the model object of your choice? जो भी बनाना है इससे बन जाएगा. We created a model object first step. Step number 2. Our model is all about data, right? You got to set the data to the model object. So we're going to set the data. How do you set the data? There are two methods. One, you can use your model object. Let's say my model. Set data API. Inside this, you can pass all your data which you need. So since you are doing JSON model, your data format will also be JSON data. Okay. Step number 1. Okay. Step number 1. Or you want to load the data from a file. Then you can use load data API because you want to load the data is this time rather than setting the data. So my model dot load data. That's an API. And in this, what do you pass? You will pass a file path where the data exists, because you're loading the data, you're not setting the data. Here the data will come as it is. Here the data resides in a file, external kind of external file from where you are loading it. Clear, everyone? Step number 3 is called making model aware to the application. There is nothing like magic actually. You got to make the model aware to the application or to the view, because it's going to connect to the view UI elements, right? So there will be a view. Like in our case, we have a main view we have created. Inside this main view, we have created multiple input fields, right? We have created multiple input fields inside, right? Today we created that. We created multiple input fields like name, employee number, salary. These input fields you have created today inside of this, right? So now you have to connect ultimately to these fields. How will these fields know that there is a model where I have to take the data from, right? So there is a model. How does these fields know they need to contact this model, or how does this view know that they need to contact this model to fetch the data, right? How does your view know that they need to contact this model? You need to make the model aware to the application, right? You need to make the model aware to the application. That's a very important step. Without this, they will never know that they have to fetch the data from the model. So this is the reason why we use something to make the model aware to the application. There are 3 ways to do that. The first and the most preferred way is to make the model aware to the entire application, which means all the views, all the controls. All the views will know the model. So what is the API to get the running instance of runtime application? What is the API in SAP UI5 to get the runtime instance? Perfect answer. sap.ui.getCore is the API to get the running instance of runtime application. Set model you call, and in this pass your model object. This is how you make the model aware to entire application. Here everybody, now your entire application, all the views inside application will know that there is a model which I've created from where I have to pick the data. Clear everyone? The second approach is making the model aware to only the view, to only single view. So how do you get single view object in SAP UI5? This dot get view, remember this dot get view to get a single view object, dot set model, pass the model object. Now, do you think this model is accessible by other views also? Do you think this model is accessible? No, it's only and only with that single view which you have binded the model to. Only single view will know this model. Okay, only single view. Now, last one, but this is not used much, but still, binding or making model aware only to UI control which wants to take data from model. So for this, you will now have to get the object of your UI control, this dot get view, by ID API, ID of the control, and then set model API on that. You have to pass to set the model only and only that UI control level. उस केवल उस UI control पे data आएगा. Other views, other elements of your same view can't access that data. That model, entire model, we only and only connect to that UI control. This is not preferred option. Preferred option is option number 1 or option number 2. Even in real-time apps, option number 2 is used much. Okay, it's used much. And even option number 1 is also used much in real-time application. In fact, the first one is used most of the time in real applications. Are these three steps? Theory part is clear to all of you. First, creating an object. Second, setting the data, loading the data in the model. Third, making it aware to the application. Is all these three steps clear to everyone? Guys, try to understand model is an object. Everything is an object, guys. Model is also an object. Try to understand this. Model in an object. You are playing around with an object. Am I clear, guys? Model is an object. You created a model object. You loaded, set the data to the model, making the model aware to the application. And now you can perform the binding to fetch the data from the model. To perform the binding, we have to use path. Now, get, in order to perform the binding, we use concept of path. What is concept of path? Let's try a simple JSON. I'm trying a simple JSON. I will say here employee number or employee structure. This employee structure JSON has some data now. It has, let's say, employee number data, 1000, employee name, Srinivas, salary, currency. I have, let's say, this structure of data. And now we have also, this is my data, guys. And this possibly we also have employee table, which has multiple records of employee like this. So array is what we use for representing the table. You all know that. And inside this, maybe you have multiple records of employee now. Suppose we have 3 records. I'm going to repeat this one, or maybe 2 records right now. Just keep it simple. We have 2 records in employee now, which is actually a table now. In the table, we have 2 records. And in the structure, we have 1 record, of course. That's my employee data. Here, everybody, are you clear? This employee structure. This is your JSON. Nothing new. This is JSON, which you guys are already aware of. Are you clear? Are you clear with this JSON? Do you remember the JSON symbol? This is JSON. Now, what is this EMP tab and EMP str? EMP tab and EMP str is called entity set. What are all they called? Anyone? What are all they called? These are called entity sets. How many entity set right now you have in your JSON data model? JSON data. How many entity sets? You have two. Employee table have, employee structure. You have two entity sets. Which of the entity set has array? What is the entity set name which is an array? Employee table. Perfect answer. That's an array. What is an entity set which is in a structure? It's EMP str. Clear everyone? And now inside here you have attributes. Okay. Employee number, employee name, salary, currency. What are all they called? What are all they called? They are called attribute or elements. Okay. They are called attribute. I would say they are called attributes. They are called attributes or properties. And if you see an array element, okay, if you see an array is employee tab. Here, if you see these multiple values are repeating, right? You have multiple records. What is each record called? What is each record called? Anybody? What is the name of this record? What do you call that? We call it as element, not property. Property is inside an element. Are you clear, guys? What is an element? What is an attribute or property? What is an entity set? Is this clear to everybody? The naming convention. If you see what is salary inside the first record of employee tab, anyone, what do you call this gentleman alone? What do you call this gentleman alone? It's a property. Perfect answer. It's a property or attribute. What do you call this whole record? This complete record of employee table? What do you call? It's an element. What is the index of this element as per JavaScript? What is the index of this element? Perfect answer. JavaScript index starts with 0. So first element index is 0 and second element index is 1. Clear everyone? This is all basics of JavaScript which we learned, JSON, which we learned in the last units, right? So is this clear everyone? How does the JSON look like? What are all the entity sets, attribute properties or element? Now coming back, we will try to see making an address. We have to make an address for these properties and these elements. What are the rules of making an address? I will just end the session with the rules of making address. I will just ask a couple of questions and then we will move on. What are all the rules of making address? Rule of making address is every curly braces is represented by slash and every array element is represented by every array element is represented by a index. That's what exactly happens. Every array element is represented by index and every curly braces is represented by slash. So let me make the first address. I want to point to currency of my structure. Let's go and address and traverse and make the address. So we'll start from the top. We have got first a curly braces. Yeah. So we got a first a curly braces. Then we got EMP str. Then we have got again a curly braces after EMP str. And then we have got our currency property. Okay. So let me write down. Anybody, what is every curly braces starts with? Every curly braces represented by what? Slash. After that, what did you get after slash? Employee structure entity set. So just put EMP str. After that, what did you got after employee structure? What did you got after employee structure? What did you got? Another curly braces, another slash you put. And what is the address? What is the property you are referring? Currency. Just put currency. Is this clear, guys? How to make address of an element or a property inside of a JSON. Is this clear, everybody? How to make address of a property in JSON? Is this clear? This is very important. Without this, tomorrow's class is of no use for you. You will not get any single thing out of it. Let me ask a question. Who will tell me what is the employee name property in structure? What is the address of employee name in structure? Perfect answer. Slash, start with the topmost curly braces, slash employee str, very nice. Then after that employee name aa raha hai, so you have got another curly braces and employee name. So slash employee name. Is this clear, everybody? Are you all clear with the address? Now key part. Who will tell me the address of first element of employee number inside table? Anybody? Who will tell me the address of first element of employee number inside table? Let's start once again. Topmost curly braces. आ जाओ यहाँ पे slash. What is the entity name? Empty tab. What is the index? So every array starting index is now 1 because I want the second element. Let's say I want second element means index is 1 slash 1 slash employee number property. Is this rule clear to everybody? How to make address of an element, how to make address of an attribute inside an element or directly inside an entity set. Is this clear to everybody? Are you all clear? Yes or no? Because this is the most important topic of entire course. Okay, this is the most important topic. This is representation of address. It is not accessing the value of JSON the way we did in the last class of JavaScript. We were accessing the value. Here we are writing address of it. Okay.
Anubhav, I have a quick question.
Yes.
For the employee tab, why are we traversing via employee str because it's not like it
Where
is.
are we traversing with employee str? I had put emp tab. I didn't put emp str.
But why did you say address of employee name is emp str / emp name?
This one I'm written it for structure only. I am representing for this gentleman. This one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
See
Okay.
here.
Thanks.
See the query. Second
I got
element
confused.
inside a table. See here above this. ये देखो query लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे.
Okay. Thank
Here
you.
I just written employee name. I didn't written table. Nowhere. Okay. So when somebody asks you address, they will give you this. Don't worry that people will ask you something which you don't know. They will give you this correctly. They will tell you, अच्छा इसको refer करना. Then you will have to make address. The question has to be correct. Then only answer can be correct, guys. Try to understand. Many times we get wrong questions and we start finding answer for those wrong questions. Of course, कैसे मिलेगा? You remember Three Idiots? Paranatization, Rajunization. This is the question which was asked by Rancho in a class of 60 people, including the professor sitting. This is what he has written on the board and said, you can use mobile, Wikipedia, any book and find out answer of this question. Everybody started a race to find out answer of this question. There is no answer to this question. It's just the name of his friends, Farhan and Raju. That's it. That was the name of his friends, which he has written. Just by adding something extra, he made a question out of it, and people started calling books and trying to find an answer for this. There is no answer to it. हम दिमाग ही नहीं लगा रहे हैं. In today's world, we are not using our brain to process the raw material. What we are into is just a race. Just a race. Come out of this race. Don't be part of this race, guys. Whenever something is given to your head, try to process that information first. हमें रेस नहीं करना है. If you keep out of you yourself out of this race, trust me, you will win. Trust me, you will win. And you're already on a winning track. Trust me, you're already much ahead of your colleagues. वो लोग कभी यहाँ नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे. Because you already started it. They are still thinking whether to learn UI5 or not. When will they start learning? जब market saturate हो जाएगा. When the market will saturate, that time people will start learning UI5. The घंटा package मिलने वाला है. कोई package नहीं मिलेगा. They won't get a good package, good hike, because market is saturated with learning UI5 theory. Still there is a time. Okay, so once again, let me ask one more question to all of you. What is the address of my first element, salary, in table? Who will tell me? Tanzim will tell. Nobody else will tell. Tanzim, go ahead and tell me the address of the first element of salary. Only Tanzim will tell. Come on, Tanzim. What do you think? What will be the address of the first element of the salary? It's 0. No, it's not 0. Start from the top. First curly braces, then your entity, then your bracket, then your first element curly braces, and then the value of salary. So how do you write? You start from the top, first curly braces, slash. Read the rule of the game. ये भूल गए तो नहीं कर पाओगे. You have to remember this rule of the game. If you break the rule, you are lost. Don't break this rule. Every curly braces is a slash. Then entity set name, emp tab. Then every array element is represented with a slash index. So it's an array now. This one is an array actually. So its first element is 0. Index starts with 0, slash 0. Slash. Again a curly braces here, which is a slash, and then salary. That's the answer. इतना over engineer मत करो sir. It's easy. It's very easy to build an address. Just have to remember this one line rule. You can build any address. Okay. Very important, guys. These things are very important. What we learned today. This is our base for building model and bringing the data to your application. Without this, it's very difficult. So please remember, tomorrow's class, I'll start with asking this question to one of you. I will pick randomly. You have to unmute your line and give me the answer. 3 steps of creating a model object and then a path. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Can you go back this one? Okay.
Which one?
Can we explain again this line, EMPSTR, that EMP name, please?
Which
this
one?
Part.
Which line?
EM/EMPSTRT.
Okay.
This one, yeah.
This one? Okay. Here I want to get address of employee name from structure.
Anubhav, here I think you had a typo, Anubhav. EMPSTR/ename. That's why we are getting confused. EMPSTR.
Sorry. Yes, you're right. This is ename. I have a typo.
Yeah, that's why we have a.
I'm so sorry. I did not notice here. This one is ename, so it is ename. Right.
Thank you.
So we thought you were traversing 2 layers.
Okay. Got it. लोग सोच रहे कि EMP okay, I'm so stupid. EMP name. I'm so sorry, guys. That's ename. I'm stupid. Sorry. Okay. Clear, everyone? Can you explain zero salary? There is nothing called zero salary. It's 0th element of salary. Okay. So 0 is the element address. 0 means in JavaScript, element starts with 0. See, it's an array. An array always starts with index 0. So 0 is index actually. So 0, 1, there are 2 elements. So 0 is the first element index and 1 is the second element index. So if I want to traverse to salary, I'll say slash emp tab slash 0 is the index, and inside this now we have a salary item. So that's what it is. Try to remember these rules. Try to build it yourself. Okay. Try to build it yourself. Remember this rule, make a JSON and try to build it yourself.
Anubhav, one question.
Yes, please.
Can index be represented by a variable?
No, it cannot be.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm sure what you are thinking. You're thinking, how will I connect to a dynamic table then? I will show you
Yeah.
that. For which we have binding concept. We will discuss that in next class.
Anubhav, in between curly braces, we do have some square braces, right? So we can ignore that.
In curly braces, we have
square braces also, right?
this one.
Yes.
So that's what is bringing your index actually, you see.
Okay.
This bracket is bringing your index. So you see the rule again. And every array element is represented by index. Array element means bracket. That's what it is. This gentleman is bringing your index actually. Representation of an array. Absolutely. This is a representation of an array in JavaScript JSON. All right.
Anubhav.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Can you go to the web ID in the main view, whatever we created today? Web ID.
I'm already on it.
Okay. Here you put label and input, right?
Right.
Today we had an example. On forms. So we took label and input. Suppose might be in our situations we need to create a button or something, some other things else. So how we will come to know whether we need to use label or input or some other things?
UI5 has.
Suppose I need to create a.
You can go to samples in the UI5 and search here simple form and go inside. There are 12 examples of a simple form. You can see here. Go inside any of the example. You can see this is how they've created. And you want similarly of this type, switch to this code view and it will show you the XML code for that. See, this is the XML code. See, label, input, label, input, label, input, label, input.
I might have put my question in wrong way. Suppose like in HTML we have to create. I mean, we have option to create table and rows. Like that, if I want to create a table, so can I use same label and input?
No, we have a concept of, we have a table control separately. So you have to go to API reference and you have to search for the table control. Okay. And here you will find a table control.
Okay, like that, like that. If I want to create, if I want to use some other things like table or something, I just want to see the references of that syntax.
Right.
So where can I find?
So here only in a UI5 SDK, you have to go check the table, check its properties, what are the properties it has, what aggregations it has. Each is a column, and inside each of the column, let's see what we have. How to get a column? You can see header of the column, footer of the column. So like that, you can see the column properties, column aggregations, how to build. By the way, this is part of our course. I will explain you table concept. So we are not ending our course tomorrow. There's a long way we have to go, and table control also I will show you in the system. Both tables, SAP M table also and SAP UI table also, which are both are used heavily in real time. That's the reason I will show both of it to you. So this table also we will see.
Okay, and one more last question. Going forward, I'm sorry, please, because I have many questions in my mind.
No problem. Take your time. Go ahead.
Going forward, we will use XML views or JavaScript views?
XML views, definitely. Definitely XML views. You saw the advantage of XML views in last class. And this is the reason why we use XML views. And I also explained it in the chapter of MVC where we discussed about which type of views are used the most. So if you just go back to that slide, I think you're not taking a print out of this PPT and carrying with you. See?
I'm following, but I stuck up while creating JavaScript views.
Mhm.
I just had a stop there. So I'm not able to move from there actually. So I still am trying. I will try from my side, and if I am not able to get off
Mhm.
from that,
No
definitely I
problem.
will come to you.
Anubhav?
I'm trying.
Sure. No problem. Trying is
Thanks, Anbu.
important. Giving up is easy, but trying is important. Trying is hard way, but the right way. Give up is easiest thing you can do in life. मैंने give up कर दिया. कौन सा बड़ा तीर मारा give up करके? Give up is easiest thing you can do in life. You know, my manager always say we had very tough time in our team. At times there is a huge pressure of work in our team, and we got to struggle like anything. You know, I have to step into the office morning 6 o'clock. Can you imagine? And step out of office, I don't have a time. I don't know when will I step out of office. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. One fine day, I entered into office around morning 9 o'clock. And you know what time I left office? 3 a.m. in night. This is the kind of pressure we get sometimes in office hours. But I have to support my team. I am Anubhav because of my team. My team is not because of Anubhav. So I need to understand. I have to support my team at best I can do. And I also struggle like you guys, what you struggle in your company. It's same situation for me too. But giving up is easiest thing. People say na usually on Friday, मैं छोड़ दूंगा. I will leave. I'll show him. I'll show my manager. Arey yaar, that's the easiest thing you can do. Giving up is so easy, but staying there and working and struggling hard is the toughest thing which very few people can do and survive. It's not easy. Giving up is easy. You can give up anytime. Anytime, it's your choice. You can give up and go away. But will you be ever able to meet your eyes with yourself? Will you be able to answerable? Will you be able to answer yourself, your soul in your life that you have not given up? निकाल देंगे वो बात अलग है. You could not perform, that's okay. They throwed you out. But did you give up? Don't build this habit of giving up things. नहीं हो रहा तो give up कर दे. क्यों नहीं हो रहा? Why? I am in a BAPR. Trust me guys, I am in a BAPR. I was in a BAPR. I worked in a BAPR. For me, there was no choice left to jump to Fury. And today I thank God that I jumped to UI5 Fury on time. On time I jumped. And that has given me the edge. I'm sitting at front of all of you because I struggled hard and I did not give up. Initial days of my UI5 learning, you can't imagine. It was so tough for me. So tough. Believe me, I didn't have a mentor like Anubhav in my life. I didn't have mentor. Otherwise, you cannot imagine where will I go. You are lucky to at least have YouTube, internet, and at least one person who can guide you. I had no one who helped me learning it. You can imagine my life, how difficult it was. And that time I make a promise to myself. I will not let anybody else suffer from the same problem which I am suffering from. And I designed this course for SAP UiPath and Fury, step by step, no copy paste of code, because every single resource, internet video I go, they're doing copy paste. समझ में नहीं आता है, output तो आ जाता है, समझ में नहीं आता है. You get the output, but you will not understand what is happening. That was the biggest challenge I faced, and I designed this course in a way that I will not let anybody else suffer the way I did. Any questions before we close today's class?
Yes, Anubhav. Yes.
Yes. Yes,
I
please.
have a question.
Yes, please.
Thank you for your nice entertainment, nice comment regarding the trading and other things. We are very much enjoying actually.
Thank you. You got to practice hard to enjoy more. You got to practice
we are
hard.
also trying to practice day to day.
Burn yourself.
Now another question for me. Can you share my screen? I just want to show.
Oh, sorry, that will take time. Can you please drop me the Google Drive of your profile?
Just a few
seconds.
Just a few seconds. Few seconds, just few seconds.
Then we'll do it.
Just did you see my screen?
Yeah, one second. I'll give you the presenter rights, then you can share. Go ahead, please. We have hard stop in 4 minutes. I have to rush to office. My manager is waiting for me. He called me in the morning.
Just 1 minute I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just my view not coming. Can you, what
Okay.
is the problem?
Let's see who can solve here from the audience. Audience will solve your doubt. And I feel it's like something case sensitive. Please go back to web ID. Let us see the code. I will not solve. My students will solve for you. Yes. Anyone? What do you think could be the possible reasons of failure in this case? Anyone? What do you think is the possible? किसी को मिला? मुझे मिल गया. मुझे मिल गया. I found out. I found out. Do you have that eagle eye to find out? No. It's not the web app directory name. Directory name can be anything. Anyone else want to give a try? Spelling of view is correct. sap.ui.view is correct. And it's case sensitive, so it's correct. Perfect answer. Abdul has got the right answer. Type of the view is JS you had put, but actual view type is XML in this case. Abdul has got the right answer. On the right side, on line number 16, you have put the type of the view as JS. Please change it to capital XML. Save this up.
One, no?
Yes. And go ahead. Save. First save. Yes.
Save.
Go back and refresh. Still another error. Please scroll up and now we'll see what's the another issue. This is a different issue. Please scroll up little bit. So guys, first issue I guess is solved. Fail to load view controller. This time it's an issue with controller. Go back. Show me your controller. Where is the issue? What's your namespace? Have you put it correct? Ironman dot something should be there. Can you see here the extend command? Your address of the controller is incorrect. It's not view.controller.view. It should be what? Anybody? What is our namespace? It should be Ironman.controller.view. You see the first phrase of view is incorrect. First view which you had put view.controller. This one should be Ironman. Your namespace. You should start with your web app directory, which is your namespace. Ironman.controller. This view you remove. Why have you put this extra view? Save this up. Go back and refresh the page. Keep simple things simple, Tanzim. If you try to make it complicated, it will become complicated for you. Please scroll up a little bit more. Something else is again. View controller. Yes, I think your path of the controller in the view is also incorrect. Go to the view. There you are returning the address of the controller, right? That is also wrong. Can you see line number 4? Here you are returning the address incorrect. It should be the correct address. Ironman.controller.view. Save this up. सब जगह पंगा बचा रखा है. Refresh.
First time कर रहे हैं ना इसलिए.
No problem. That's okay. This is what is your learning. O view is not defined. Go back again. Go to index.html. You have to follow through properly, sir. You see line number 18. O view is not proper. O view. What is the object you created on line number 13?
O view XML.
O view XML. O view क्यों डाल वहाँ पे?
This is the learning for us.
You messed up
छोटा problem हो रहा है.
There you go. Your response is coming up. When you do things right, response comes right away naturally.
Yes, well, this is the first time we are trying to.
That's okay.
These are the. Sorry to other guys. And
this is okay. It's a learning for everybody. This is a learning for everybody. You know, these kind of mistakes which you've done, it reminds me my early days of learning UI5. I used to do these mistakes when I was learning UI5. And today, see, I become a trainer in UI5. If I would have stopped there, would I be able to achieve today till where I am? With these small issues, if I would have stopped practicing, would I be able to achieve here till this result, what I am doing today? No, no. So give up is easiest thing. Don't give up. Burn yourself, guys, burn. It will take time, trust me. But the day you get that confidence, you cannot imagine. You will feel proud on yourself. Okay,
Thank
it will
you.
take time. It's okay. It's okay. Take your time, no problem. But don't give up, guys. Don't give up. With that, it's a wrap on today's class. More questions, please shoot an email. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day.